Welcome everyone to this episode of the Palmetto Guardian. I'm Sergeant Chelsea Weaver.
And I'm Specialist Anna Grace Catoe.
And today we have a very, very special guest, returning guest. If you've been around for a while, you've seen her before. I'm going to let her introduce herself, and then we're just going to go into today's topic.
I love the intro. Thank you so much. Just everybody go back and listen to the other episodes I've been on because I drop massive, massive value and wisdom. But for those of you who don't know me, my name is Lisa Mustard, and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I am a civilian counselor here, worked for the Guard for many, many years. And my role is to help service members and their families cope with life on life's terms, whatever that looks like. So I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for having me back.
Awesome. I know it's not the holidays without having Lisa Mustard come and talk to us about how to deal with the holidays.
Do you remember the time that we used to do the Facebook Lives and we did that one in front of the tree?
Yeah.
That was like the very beginning of you guys like stepping it up. I remember that so well. That was really fun. We should do that again. Do you guys still do this?
No, but I mean, it's something we could definitely revisit since we're trying to up our social media game. So maybe we can look into doing that again. That
reminds me, you need to tell people that they need to subscribe to the YouTube channel if they're watching and they haven't right now. So do us a favor and subscribe. Hit that subscribe bell.
Yes, I know. I have some ideas in my head of like upping the podcast game. So be on the lookout for after the first of the year. So
ooh, that's exciting.
Yeah, maybe we can have you come and do a podcast with us in the new year with all the fun new stuff.
Yeah, I'd love that. Yeah, I love it. And what I love about these podcasts is that it reaches a lot of National Guard service members and their families who are able to listen or not watch in the car, but like listen on the go, which I love podcasts for. And it has brought a lot of people calling and asking questions about our services, and they seem a little bit less hesitant, I think, which I think is really cool. Which reminds me, I need to give the 800 number. So if you are wanting support or needing to ask a question or need a referral or really anything behavioral health related, then you can always call us at 800-681-2558, and one of us will get back to you as soon as we can and help you out.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what's today's topic?
Yeah. So what are we talking about? Today, I thought it would be really cool to talk about 10 tips for, 10 tips for handling holiday family gatherings with less stress or stress, something like that. But we're going to talk about how to handle the holidays if you're feeling stressed out about it because your family's coming to visit. So I have some tips for that. This is a really, and I think it's a good topic for any time of the year. You could do this at any holiday or any get together, or because, now that what is over, we are congregating together again and we're back in each other's lives more and more. And the world is a weird place for a lot of people. It can be very divided. It can be very polarizing. So what happens as you get ready for the holidays and you're coming back together and maybe you don't see eye to eye on a lot of issues? How do you handle that stress, or how do you handle the drama? Because we know it's possible to happen. So that's what we're going to talk about.
Awesome. All right. Well, give us the spiel.
Okay. Well, first things first, I'm looking down at my phone because I have my notes on here. I don't want to forget anything if you guys see me, looking down. But number one is adjust your expectations. If going into, and I'm just going to use Christmas because that's the main holiday that most people in this country celebrate, but there are other holidays for sure. If you are going into Christmas and that it could be tense, that it could be a little bit stressful, well, adjust your expectations. Just know what you're getting yourself into. And sometimes, if at Thanksgiving there was something that happened, well, be prepared to maybe have part 2 of that. But know that you have to be aware. Choose reality. Know what's going on, and really take a look at what you're expecting or what you're hoping for. And you might have to dial that back if you have big expectations. And I don't think that's, for some people that's hard to do, because for a lot of people they put a lot of, their energy and their wishes onto the holiday season. But just remember, that's your expectation of what. So know what you want going into it, and just realize that not everybody's going to show up to meet your expectation, and that's okay, because we can't control what other people do. And I'm probably going to come back to that a lot when it comes to how do you handle drama and stress. Is we can only control ourselves. I don't know. What do y'all think about that? Adjust your expectations, or be clear on your expectations.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is pick your battles. Is it really worth whatever the situation is, or is it worth just getting along for the day or whatever it is that you're doing together, and then just putting it aside, being adults and just enjoying the moment, have fun, versus getting in an argument with a family member or having drama and all that. Like, it just adds more stress. So that's the first thing that popped in my head.
Yeah. I like that. So number 2 would be manage yourself. Like, it's all about your own emotional intelligence. So you need to know when you start to get heated, or you start to get stressed, or you start to get, you know when your body is reacting to something happening that's going on. So how do you want to manage yourself in that moment? What are you going to do to kind of calm yourself down? And I think, one of the best things you can do is sometimes you just need a break. You need to leave the room, manage your emotions, go in the other room, go outside. I mean, I'll tell you what, like, in the cold, I mean, it's cold today. That's the quickest way that I can kind of rein myself in, is I go outside and experience a new physical reaction. So go outside, take some deep breaths, do what you have to do to manage your emotions and your reactions. Anybody? I mean, I did that over Thanksgiving.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that.
Tell us about it.
No, like, I don't know. I was just tired of being inside, really.
Yeah.
But there was just a lot going on. Like, everybody's talking and everything.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm done eating. I'm going to walk outside for a minute.
Yeah.
And it felt great, too, so.
Mm-hmm. I think that's really good. You kind of knew, like, you had enough of the talking and the being together, and you needed to, like, center yourself, I'm guessing, and just get out of there for a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I find I think as I've practiced this, and that's part of this too, is you got to practice these skills, right? I mean, think about at work, how do you handle yourself? Sometimes you have to go outside. You got to get away from whatever you're facing, and you just need to take a deep breath. It's similar with your family, And yeah, I did that over Thanksgiving. I mean, I can't think of anything specific, but I do remember going out into the garage to take a deep breath for something. But I don't remember why. But it was like I just needed a break. Maybe just needed a break.
Mm-hmm.
There's just conversations going on that I was like, I don't want to be in this conversation. I don't know about y'all, but it was a lot of. Well, actually, it wasn't a lot of, but the Clemson, Carolina talk at Thanksgiving in this state. Whew, people get worked up. So I like this one because I try really hard to stay out of the drama. So try to maybe steer the conversation towards more neutral ground if you can, or if it's too much, like I just said, that I just excuse myself and go in the other room. It's because you might get triggered by whatever they're talking about. And, is this the time and the place that you want to get triggered and have an emotional reaction and outburst? Really think about that. Is that worth it to you? Do you want it to go in that direction? And maybe it did at Thanksgiving, and you're kind of like geared up for part 2 at Christmas. Do you want to do that again? Because while you can't control what the other person is going to do or say, you have complete control over your thoughts, feelings, and actions. So how do you want to show up? And also too, maybe think about that ahead of time, but a lot of the times it actually doesn't happen. It's like you build up the scenario in your head and you're all ready to go into battle, and you get there and you're like, oh, he didn't bring it up. So that's okay. You don't need to then bring it up if you know it's going to possibly send you down a pathway of intense emotional reaction. So what do you think about that?
I mean, absolutely. Like, I think everybody plays scenarios in their head, and with the holidays being so close together, you're going to see the same people multiple times versus like throughout the rest of the year. So, I guess not anticipating something happening, because that can just cause stress and anxiety in itself. And then, like you said, if nothing happens or they don't bring it up or the conversation doesn't get revisited or anything, like, what was all the work up for?
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I remember when I was younger in my 20s, so long ago, I remember, getting kind of worked up before going into like holidays because I just assumed certain questions were going to be asked, and I didn't really want to answer those questions. And they never did. It never was brought up. It was my own stuff that I was projecting out onto, is this going to happen? How am I going to respond? And honestly, nobody cares about you as much as you think they do. At the end of the day, like, your grandma may care about you, and she, you know, and but really, you're not the topic. You're not the first thing that's on their mind. It's usually, I'm on my mind, you know, they're on their mind. So a lot of the times it doesn't actually even end up happening. Oh yeah, I like this one a lot. It's resist being defensive, because it's really easy to go to that place of feeling attacked during personal discussions. So instead of wanting to like react and respond, just practice active listening and respond with empathy. And that does take practice, but if you can actively listen and not like respond as they're talking to get your point across, but just really try to listen to the other person and really try to understand like what is going on for this person, and get the take home message of what they're trying to really communicate with you. You know, a lot of the times, and I don't even want to use it, but I'm going to, like, let's talk about, you know, politics. If politics got brought up and somebody's in front of you and they're just like, oh, they're just going on and on. You know, yeah, you can easily get worked up if you have different beliefs, but try to understand why they have this belief. What is it that they're really trying to point out to you? It's not just always like argument after argument and counter argument. I'm trying to make you see how I feel, or try to get you to, you know, change your ways and believe what I believe. Because chances are that doesn't happen. It doesn't happen in a family argument, right? Like stuff like that. It happens over time because the person has to decide that maybe there's another way to view this. And so if you can be curious about the other person and really try to understand where they're coming from, what their fear is, or what the obstacle is, or what the challenge is for them, then you might actually be able to make some headway and come to agree on some things. So just use your active listening skills, listen for key points, listen for themes, nod your head, use your body language. You know, just try really hard to listen with empathy and see if you can find something that you can maybe agree on. What do y'all think about that?
I feel like sometimes it might just be better to let the other person know that, hey, like, I just don't want to talk about that right now, if that's okay.
Yeah. Sure.
When it's stuff like that. I mean, I don't think that that's, like, a bad thing to do either. I just feel like around the holidays when stuff is, like, super tense, it's really hard to have to be the one that is kind of doing all of that emotional labor, really.
Mm-hmm.
Seems a little, like, unfair.
No, I hear you. Yeah. No, I can understand that, and I'm going to just challenge you with that, because do you want to be right, or do you want to have peace?
No, yeah, for sure.
It depends on the person.
Yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying. It is a lot, but you don't have to take that on if you don't want to. Like you said, you can just say, I don't really want to talk about that.
Yeah, for
and be
sure.
done. I like that. I might use that. No, I think that's a really good point, because I know I say this to my kids because they're all about fairness. You know, life isn't fair. Like, it's just not. And get used to that now, because you're going to get the job. You're not going to get the job. You're going to, you know, get the promotion. You're not going to get the promotion. And so it's like, if we walk around all the time, it's like, it's not fair, then we're not using our own, like, emotional, I guess, maturity level is kind of what I'm getting at. So the next tip would be to work to practice these skills ahead of time. So be prepared as much as you can. You know, think through, how are you going to react and respond to Uncle Joe's commentary about X, Y, and Z? You know, how are you going to react and respond to Grandma's questions about, you know, how, whatever it is. But just try to practice that conversation. And it might be, I don't really want to talk about that, or I don't care to talk about that right now. You know, just might be practicing saying that out loud, because it's one thing to think it, like, yeah, I'm gonna say that. But when the time comes and your grandma's asking you, it's hard, you know, because you want to give grandma what she wants, because she's your grandma. But you might have to practice saying it out loud, like, I'm not up for talking about that today. And just, you know, actually say it to yourself. Practice saying it in the mirror. Okay, so the next tip I have is find positive ways to connect. Focus on building new memories and happy memories if possible. Maybe go on a group hike or a group walk, or, you know, when our kids were little, we did this thing where we do a scavenger hunt, and that was really fun. The adults would put it together and the kids would go on a scavenger hunt. You could play board games. I don't like playing board games personally. I like working on puzzles, so I usually will, want to work on a puzzle. Try I don't know, group cooking sessions, baking sessions. We decorate gingerbread men on 2 days before Christmas because we're all together in a house and we need things to do. So we decorate gingerbread cookies. That's really fun. Puzzles we do, and we go for walks. We go for a lot of walks. And I don't know, do y'all have any traditions that you do that you could throw in there?
When I was younger, my family would, on my mom's side, my great-grandmother always wanted to have a Christmas party with all of the family. And so we would go to the cabins and rent cabins, and we would have a Christmas party. And I forget how long ago, but my grandmother and her sister started a tradition where every year somebody would make an ornament for the family. And it's gone down through each generation. So it's cool to see whoever's going to make the ornament that year, what they're going to make, and then everybody gets one. So stuff like that's cool. And it's nice. We don't do the cabins and stuff anymore just because people have gotten older and families got bigger and moved away and all that fun stuff. But it's nice to still see some of those traditions to continue. But other than that, I mean, I'm sure that there's tons of different things that people do that we've never heard of as traditions.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, we always watch the same Christmas movies together.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Every year. And then we were talking about going to get a real Christmas tree probably this weekend, all decorating it together. Because I've never gone and cut one down before. But it sounds fun. So
yeah, it does sound fun. Just make sure that it's not private property.
No, we're gonna go to I don't know. I'm not planning the whole thing out. I'm just
showing up.
Yeah, I'm gonna ride in the passenger seat. So.
Speaking of Christmas movies, what's your favorite Christmas movie?
Oh gosh, A Christmas Story.
Uh-huh.
And they play that nonstop. I feel like all December. We watch that every year.
What is it called? The one with National Lampoons.
Oh yeah, Christmas Vacation.
Yeah,
that's another good one.
Yeah.
And Elf, those two.
Yeah.
Yeah, Elf is good. Those are all good. My favorite is Love Actually.
I was gonna say that.
I love
too.
that movie. I love that movie, and I let my kids watch it this year. I had to kind of fast forward through some scenes, but I love that movie so much. I could watch it. It doesn't have to be Christmas. If you ask a guy what his favorite Christmas movie is, what do you think they say?
Die Hard.
Die Hard. They always say Die Hard. And I'm like, okay, it's a Christmas movie. Whatever. Okay. So all the guys out there, we'd love to know, is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Or not.
A thriller?
It's in the Christmas section on Netflix.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. Well, there. Netflix has spoken. There we go. Okay. So my next tip is definitely still find time to do things that you like your own self-care. Make sure you do all the things that keep you sane. For me, it's I still go to the gym. I still get my exercise in. I'm still going to eat, healthy. I'm going to drink my water. I'm going to get my sleep. I'm going to do that as much as possible, and then do all the things that, keep me sane. So I want to suggest that you guys do the same, is balance it all out with your own self-care. And then really my last tip is, sometimes we need to balance all of this out with a little outside perspective. So do you have a friend or a family member that you can, confide in and just kind of let loose what you're actually worried about or fearful for happening or worried that it might actually happen? And if you don't have somebody in your life that you can do that with, then definitely call one of us, and you can reach us at our 800 number, and we'll be happy to talk to you and, see what's going on and maybe give you some coaching on how you can make the holidays drama-free and stress-free for you and your family. So those are my tips.
Awesome.
Anything I missed, you think?
I mean, I think they kind of all go together in a way. So I think it's good to just talk about different things that maybe people don't think about. But like you said, or what we were talking about before, I guess, looking at the perspective, picking your own battles. Is it worth it? Making sure you're taking care of yourself, because it is hard during the holidays when you're like me. I like to give. I'm a people pleaser in a way. And so I want everybody to have fun. I want everybody to spend time together. I want to get gifts. I want to do this and that, but it can get exhausting whenever you're not taking the time for yourself, or when you're constantly running around trying to do all this stuff for everybody else. And then maybe you have expectations that other people feel the same way, but they don't, because they have a different personality. And then when you don't get that in return, it can be kind of frustrating. But no, I think those are all great tips. And definitely, if anybody's listening or watching, because this is a time of the year where mental health and all those kind of things that play with that kind of get heightened a little bit. And sometimes people don't feel comfortable talking to friends and family and stuff. So it's good to have outside resources available so that they have somebody to talk to, or they can take these and use them, and just try to be better and not let things affect them the way that maybe they did in the past.
Yeah, that's a really good point. There are a lot of people out there. This is a really tough time of year for them, and it might be somebody who's actually in the Guard is, one of them. So I think that's a really good point. Definitely reach out. You can always call the Veterans Crisis Line too. Of course, off the top of my head, I think it's 273-TALK, and then you hit 1, or 800-273-TALK, and then you press 1 for veterans. But that's a great resource if you are, needing to talk to somebody. I think you can even text them now. You don't have to call them if you just prefer to text. Well, you brought up something that I wanna revisit, and you said that you might, you're a people pleaser and you want to do all these things for people, but it's exhausting, and then it can be upsetting when people don't reciprocate. But what came to mind was, we all come from different, families where we celebrated holidays very differently, and the way that my family celebrates holidays versus my husband's is very different. So I wasn't used to all of that, what they did. But now that I've been a mustard for how many years, it's like I get it now, and I've adopted a lot of those same things. And just because you see differently on holidays, be curious about that. Ask your friend or ask your husband or wife, like, what was it like for you growing up? Like, because it could have been great or it could have been not so great. And people may not you may not know the history. You may not know. So I think that's a really good point. And if you're comfortable having that discussion, then definitely go there.
I think that definitely adds to like the stress of the holiday season too, is like whenever you're first starting to like mesh like families and stuff and trying to figure out, okay, how can we go to this place and this place and this place and that place, and then everyone's like tensions are kind of high, and everyone's super stressed out after that too.
Yes, it can be very stressful for new relationships as well as relationships that might have changed since last Christmas. If you have parents that are separated, and you have kids going here on Christmas Eve and there on Christmas Eve and then turning around on Christmas Day, going to all these different places, like that's a lot. That is a lot to coordinate, a lot to handle, and, check in with your kids, see how they're doing if that's your scenario. Just because as much as everybody wants to see everybody on Christmas and Christmas Eve and New Year's, it's like, what's best? What's really best right now? So, and that could be a number of different scenarios for different people, but I would ask that family to like talk to the other parent and say, really, what's best for the kids right now? Because if it could be a lot, but everything is nuanced. So if you're hearing that and you're like, she doesn't know what she's talking about, because I don't know your family, but it's nuanced. So I just want to put that out there. And as we're talking, I keep getting these like other ideas that I think are important. But yeah, I mean, I think you guys, I'm so glad you brought up what you brought up about it being hard and stressful, and other scenarios that are going to pop up. So thanks for having me on and having the conversation. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, again, like I said, it's not the holiday season without having you on talking about something with how to deal with the holiday season.
Right.
But yeah, if anybody's listening or watching that is struggling with anything that we talked about, or feels like they need somebody to talk to that can give them an outside perspective, definitely reach out. We'll have Lisa's information and all the resources that are out there in the show notes so that you guys can have easy access to it, because we don't want you guys to suffer in silence. Like, mental health is a year-round thing, but especially during this time, it's something that we all should be aware of. And be supportive and not keep it to ourselves, because it's just going to make it worse in the long run. Yeah. So, and we should all be able to enjoy the holidays regardless of what's going on, because it's a happy time of year. It doesn't have to be stressful. So, yeah. But yeah, if you guys like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and we will catch you guys in the next episode.